It was supposed to be an ordinary evening. The apartment was quiet, the warm hum of a ceiling fan filling the silence as Melissa watched her 8-year-old son, Daniel, laugh while trying to line up his next shot at the pool table. The game had become their nightly ritual, something simple, something safe, something that kept the shadows outside where they belonged. The laughter echoed gently through the living room, and for a fleeting moment, Melissa believed they were untouchable. But then Daniel's chair shook, not wobbled, not tipped, shook violently, as if an unseen hand had grabbed it. The boy yelped, tumbling sideways onto the carpet, his small face drained of color. Melissa dropped her cue stick and rushed to him, heart hammering, but Daniel wasn't crying. He wasn't even looking at her. His wide eyes were locked on the balcony door. His little hand, trembling, pointed toward it. Melissa turned, slowly. The door stood open. Curtains stirred in the night breeze. And just beyond the pale wash of moonlight was something standing there. A figure, tall, too tall. Its body stretched thin, almost skeletal, as though someone had drawn a person and pulled the outline upward. Its head tilted in a way no human head should. And worst of all, it wasn't moving. It was waiting. Elisa's breath caught. For a heartbeat, she thought she saw eyes glinting in the dark. She reached for Daniel, clutching him to her chest. But when she looked back, the shadow stepped inside. The air grew heavy, the apartment colder by the second. Melissa scrambled backward, dragging Daniel with her until their backs hit the far wall. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs wouldn't obey. The figure glided forward, its movements wrong, like a marionette controlled by broken strings. It didn't touch the ground so much as hover just above it. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the thing stopped. Right in the center of the living room, bathed in silver light from the balcony, it simply stood there, watching. Melissa blinked, and it was gone. She sat frozen, clutching Daniel, the silence pressing in on her like a weight. He was trembling violently, whispering over and over, "It was looking at me, Mommy. It was looking at me." That night, Melissa locked every window, every door, and kept the lights on until morning. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake the feeling that the thing hadn't left, that it was still nearby, still watching. The next day, she told herself it had been a hallucination. Stress, exhaustion, a trick of the light, anything but real. She had bills piling up, a demanding job, and a son to care for. She didn't have room in her life for shadows that didn't belong. But Daniel wouldn't let it go. At breakfast, he pushed his cereal away untouched. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. "It was in my room," he whispered. Melissa froze mid-bite. What was? The tall man. He stood in the corner. He didn't move. He just watched. Her stomach turned. "Daniel, it was just a nightmare." "No," he snapped, louder than she'd ever heard him before. "He was real, and he knows my name." Melissa tried to comfort him, but all day at work, she couldn't focus. Every sound reminded her of that silent figure. The squeak of a chair, the whisper of air conditioning vents, the faint reflection of her own shadow stretching too far across the office wall. By the time she drove home that evening, her nerves were raw. When she opened the door, she froze. Every light in the apartment was on, and Daniel was sitting on the couch, wide awake, hugging his knees. "Didn't I tell you to go to bed?" she asked gently. His lip quivered. "I tried, but he won't let me sleep." Melissa felt cold all over. Who? The Watcher. Over the next week, the visits became nightly. Always around 3 in the morning, Melissa would wake to the sound of Daniel whimpering, or the creak of the balcony door, or worse silence, so thick it felt alive. And each time, she would see it. The figure never approached. It never touched them. It simply lingered, just at the edge of the light, unmoving. Its head tilted in that same unnatural angle, as though studying them. The more Melissa tried to ignore it, the worse it became. Shadows in mirrors that didn't match her movements. Footsteps in the hallway when she knew no one else was there. Objects slightly out of place each morning, as though invisible hands had been shifting them in the night. And Daniel, he grew pale, withdrawn. He stopped eating. He stopped laughing. His once bright eyes grew hollow. "It's waiting," he whispered one night, clutching her hand. "It wants me to follow it." Melissa's chest tightened. "You're not going anywhere. Do you understand me?" But deep down, she feared he already had one foot in that other world, whatever world the Watcher came from. Desperate, she reached out for help. First, she called the building manager, asking if anyone else had reported strange happenings. He brushed her off with a laugh. Then she called a priest. He blessed the apartment, sprinkled holy water, muttered prayers. For one night, it was quiet. But the following evening, the balcony door swung open on its own, and the Watcher was standing closer than ever. Finally, she turned to an old friend, Clara, who had once dabbled in folklore and occult studies. Clara listened silently as Melissa poured everything out, her face growing graver by the minute. "You need to leave," Clara said finally. "Pack your things, take your son, and go. The Watcher isn't just some ghost. It's older than that. A guardian, maybe, or a predator. It chooses someone, and once it does, it doesn't stop until it takes them." Melissa felt her stomach drop. "Takes them where?" Clara shook her head. "No one knows. Some say it pulls them into its own world. Others say it just feeds on their fear until there's nothing left. But Melissa, if it's after Daniel, you can't stay there." Melissa tried. She packed bags, booked a motel, and drove Daniel out of the city. For 2 nights, it worked. He slept, he ate. She dared to hope it was over. But on the 3rd night, she woke in the dark to find Daniel's bed empty. Heart racing, she ran to the window, and there, beneath the yellow glow of the street lamp, stood the Watcher. Daniel was with it. The boy stood perfectly still, his small hand clasped in its long skeletal fingers. His face was blank, his eyes glassy. Melissa screamed, sprinted outside barefoot, gravel cutting into her skin. "Let him go!" she shrieked. The Watcher tilted its head, slowly, calmly, and then, In a voice that scraped like broken glass, it spoke for the first time. He already chose me. Before Melissa could reach them, the streetlight flickered, and both Daniel and the Watcher vanished. Melissa searched for weeks, months, police reports, missing posters, sleepless nights wandering highways and back roads. But no trace of Daniel was ever found. The only thing she had left was the silence of her apartment, the faint sound of the ceiling fan, and the memory of a laughter that once filled the room. And sometimes, when the night is very still, Melissa swears she can hear it again. Not Daniel's laughter, but the Watcher's, the end.